And welcome back, everyone, to Fate Extella. This time with stuff. Actually, we're gonna start the third arc here. Hard to believe we're already here. Yeah. So I made an announcement, or I guess it'll be up before this, most likely, because I'll probably upload the Chaldean update. But kind of talked about it briefly. So I appreciate everyone that watched this. I know the quality from last week, actually the last few weeks, last 2 weeks, wasn't like the greatest. The reason being is because I had to render it on my laptop, which is like super old. It was like it's like when Windows 10 first came out, but it's also not a very strong laptop. And literally, Extella took all day to render those like few videos, so it was a nightmare. So I had to make some sacrifices, unfortunately, but everything should be good to go now. I've got a new motherboard, I've got a new processor, everything should be smooth again. We'll see. If the audio's off or anything, let me know in the comments. I did do a few recordings. I've actually recorded Clover, tested it, it worked fine. And actually, before I actually started this stream, or this recording, I went and made some changes to see if that helps any of the audio for this game. And so far it seems like it's fine. Everything seems balanced. But yeah, if there is any like audio issues or anything like that, let me know. You can shoot me a Discord DM, or you can just comment. Either way, I don't really care. As long as I know, that way I can make the content quality like what it should be. Also, I'll probably be drinking some water because my throat's dry, because I've been recording since like 9 o'clock. So, fun stuff. But let's go ahead and get started. I don't remember how to play. It's been a very, very long time. Main story, you can see Altera's there now. Alright, so Saber, Dawn arc. So yeah, we did Nero's arc first. We saw how that went. We finished Talmo's arc. And now it's time for Altera. Compendium Dawn. Let's review the facts. The scholar said to me, Earth scientists have hypothesized so-called parallel worlds, other versions of Earth and its surroundings expanding indefinitely like mirrored reflections. If true, that would mean that the Earth is not only one future, but many. In other words, think of it like this. The you that you're aware of exists somewhere upon this timeline. It might sound unreal. Humans aren't equipped to perceive, let alone traverse, the wall between worlds. But what if I put it another way? Think of these parallel worlds as other possibilities. That's right, baby. Time travel's back. Because time travel's always good, you know, when it's not. Imagine what would have been in your life. Think of the connections that were cut off and thrown away. Options you see now, in retrospect, that you would never have considered at the time. Picture how your life today might be different had those what-ifs come to pass. All those variant futures in everyone's lives make up a vast array of parallel worlds. Your actions, those of the you in this present moment, of this particular timeline, can change the world in any number of ways. That proves such possibilities are alive, and that your world exists on the proper axis. Conversely, a world where the future cannot be changed regardless of your choice can have no parallel worlds. Such a world is nothing but a dead end, a solitary and singular, where the past is immutable as its future. Huh, man, that looks like the ending of credits right there. This is a necessary evil, a byproduct of the way parallel worlds are structured together. After all, a world where humanity made of radically different choices would bear very little resemblance to the world you know. Some worlds may have crumbled by making all the worst choices. Others may have made the right ones and rocketed ahead, perhaps too far ahead. In either case, that world can no longer be said to resemble ours. And once a world moves out of sync, it is no longer parallel. Why would those worlds become solitary, you ask? Could the people in those worlds not still make a different choice? Unfortunately, no. The dimension contains a finite amount of energy, and has none to spare for creating new worlds from the worlds gone so far astray. If parallel worlds continue to increase in this manner, their number would eventually exceed the capacity of this dimension. Parallel worlds must exist, but in a manageable quality. By my own rough calculations and judging by the civilization of Earth alone, this solar system would collapse within 100 years if parallel worlds expanded without limits. Seeing as how we do, in fact, live and multiply, the solar system is clearly not oversaturated with possibilities at this time. I extrapolate that if this dimension can sustain our existence for the next 100 million years, the system works thusly. At regular intervals, the dimension takes stock of the possibilities it contains and only allows certain outcomes, those that would not cause undue difficulty in managing the next generation, to remain. As for the unneeded parallel world, the system closes off their futures. Specifically, every 100 years it calculates how many worlds will last another 100 years, and supports those worlds only. Have you heard of the law of conservation of mass? This could be called the law of conservation of events. And so the civilizations in these numerous parallel worlds line up with one another. Think of it as a giant tree, only the trunk at the center can grow tall. The branches may bear fruit, but eventually they reach their limit and fall without reaching the future. You understand, yes? There are no parallel worlds from a world that has evolved too fast or crumbled too quickly. Such worlds are merely dead ends whose outcomes are predetermined. And so, there is a set time frame in which these branches are trimmed. Extra possibilities are removed, and future histories, once fluid, turn to stone. The mages of the old world call this time frame the foundation of humanity. Such laws apply to the moon cell as well. The moon cell is a self-updating observatory, which continues to record every incident and possibility on Earth. You could say it makes the same observation on parallel worlds. It's all quite vexing. As time travel normally is, it's always vexing. Always. But in case the so-called foundation of humanity governs the moon just as it does the Earth, tracking the various spiritron worlds and determining where their futures will come to an end. Once one passes that event horizon, there is no turning back, nor turning aside. Any lingering ifs becomes might have beens. It's the work of the great invisible hand. No, of a god's invisible hammer. I have named this point in time the quantum time lock, the event contemplation set by an absolute observer. Ah, good old time locks. I vaguely remember being there for that long lecture. I passed through a deep, deep darkness for so long. I felt my consciousness fade to the end of Seraph. And then I set foot onto the forbidden territories where even the light of the moon cell could not reach.
まずはここまでたどり着けました。あなたのおかげです。この壁の向こうが未明領域。遥かな過去に虚空より飛来し、ムーンセルに食い込んだ優勢の内部です。本来ならシステム管理者である私でさえ立ち入れない領域ですが、気持ちの整理はよろしいですか？セラフを守るため、あなたはこの中にいる外敵を排除しなければならない。それが聖杯戦争に勝利し、
The start of it all.
セルからレガリアを授かったあなたの義務。よろしいですね。はい、いい返事ですよ。その調子で躊躇なく力を振るってくださいますよ。
I nod in agreement and look up at the wall again. It's huge. Seraph has its giant structures, but it's still rare to see anything on this scale. The bizarre architecture gives me the impression of a prison capable of holding tens of thousands of prisoners. I feel an urge to touch the wall. It's as hard as diamonds, but smooth as silk. Normally, Seraph only builds objects out of the same material on Earth. The touch alone tells me this stone comes from elsewhere. There is no doubt this belongs to an invader, something from beyond Earth, made from the pseudo-spiritrons. Just as Archimedes said, it's an external threat. I'm afraid anyone would be. I'm afraid anyone would be. Inside this place sleeps a monster who nearly destroyed both the Earth and the Moon. And now they expect me, one lone wizard, to defeat it. If only Saber were here.
仕方がないのです。強力なサーバントを連れてきては、ここに着いた時点で敵に感知されてしまう。どれほどのトップサーバントであれ、ムーンセルに作られたものでは優勢の先兵にはかなわない。勝算はただ一つ。怪物が目覚める前にレガリアの力で倒すのみ。そのためにあなたに来てもらったのです。あなただって負けると分かりきった戦いにサーバントを投入したくはないでしょ
う。What was that?
中にいる怪物の寝息でしょう。やれやれ、全くおぞましいことこの上ない。ですが、これで私の正しさは証明されました。私とあなただけなら敵に気づかれない。寝首をかくにはもってこいです。この亀裂から侵入しましょう。物音を立てないよう細心の注意を払ってよろしいですね。
Sneaking is our best strategy. Everybody loves sneak missions.
時間と空間があやふやですね。焼けた飴のようだ。ここは限りなく広いようで限りなく狭い構造なのでしょう。捕食優勢ベルバーは1万4000年前この太陽系に現れました。それがこの構造体です。優勢はかけらとなって月の裏側に刺さり、物理的にムーンセルの内部に食い込んでしまった。内部からのハッキングですね。かけらはムーンセルのネットワークに接触し、このように疑似量子の世界に自分の領域を作った。ムーンセルは侵食してきた優勢のかけらをネットワークから遮断、光の届かない未明領域とすることで侵食を食い止めた。しかしそれが限界でした。ムーンセルはムーンセルを守れても地上までは守ることができなかった。
Yo, this is a long walk.
優勢はムーンセル内のリソースを利用し、地上に自分のデータを送り、マテリアルボディを構築した。それが1万4000年
Also
前に
ignore
地上を
Hakuno's
滅ぼ
knees
した
slipping
白
through
い
her
巨
dress.
人セファールと呼ばれるアンチセルです。この先にいるのはその本体。文明を破壊するためだけに生まれた怪物。いいですね。くれぐれも用心し、気を許さないように。セラフを守り、オノがサーバントのもとに無事に帰りたいのなら、決してためらわないことです。
Ooh, gold. Must be in Gil's sanctuary. Or gate of Babylon. Must be in Babylon. I gasp at the unexpected view. Beyond the darkness is not some alien hellscape, but an old cave. It wouldn't be out of place anywhere else in the Seraph.
惑わされないように。これは地球の風景を再現しただけのもの。優勢の本質ではありません。まあ、あなたの気持ちは理解できますよ。私も意外すぎて目を疑ったものです。地上を滅ぼした巨神がまさかこんな金銀財宝に埋もれた部屋に封じられているなんて。
Treasure, gold, the floor of the cave is buried with it. Or buried in it. A vast endless mountain of coins clinking and falling as we talk. The shining hoard reflects the light that streams in front of the ceiling, softly illuminating the room. Amidst all the treasure is a giant altar. I've heard rumors of a Mayan temple somewhere underground on Earth, and this cave definitely reminds me of some lost world relic. But I don't see any sign of the enemy. The altar seems like it's the most likely place to look.
静かに。音を立てて歩かないで。敵はもう目の前だと言ったでしょう。気をつけるのです。
The enemy's already in front of us? No, it can't be. As my eyes lift slowly upwards, I try to breathe as quietly as I can. There. A Titan with white hair and dark skin is sleeping on top of the altar. Welcome, Big Altera. I literally can't believe my eyes. It's not that I'm terrified. It doesn't even feel frightening at all. It's just I'm not used to seeing anything that huge, and my perception can't keep up. I've seen a number of strange or giant weapons before in the past. I know I've seen many things, much terrible, or much more terrible than what's in front of me now. But even so, none of it compares. The impact of seeing it slams through my head and leaves me paralyzed. In some distant, abstract way, I'm ashamed of myself. Humans can accept the existence of all kinds of other creatures, but the idea of a greater, grander human feels like a threat to our very existence.
これほどの質量とはなんということか。こんなものは今の人類の手に余る。アルタミラの石碑、セファールの巨人、これが月すらも滅ぼす異様。
Yeah, she a big girl.
さあ、今すぐ攻撃を。レガリアでムーンセルの力を引き出し。
I like how Archimedes is like, hey, be quiet, and he's over here yelling. As hard as I'm shaking right now, I can barely hear Archimedes screaming at me. See, he's screaming. I'm in awe, and the same awe people must have felt when they saw their gods in ancient times. I've almost forgotten how to breathe. Don't do that, Hakuno. Breathing is important. But I can't freeze up forever. This is it. Right in front of me is the vanguard of the Umbral Star itself. Destroyer of the Earth and the Moon. I come to my senses and... Do I strike? Do I hold back? We're gonna hold back. What's the worst that happens? No, I shouldn't do it. I can't quite explain why, but killing it like this feels wrong. The ground shakes, the mountain rises. Her movements are so dignified and graceful that I can barely believe what I'm seeing. The cave's atmosphere changes. I can feel a blackness eating away at my heart. I can feel myself being crushed under the terrible lies. My eyes are working, but I feel like I've just gone blind. Whatever it is, it's enormous, and I can't take it all in at once. This is itself. It's a piece of the Umbral Star, the Earth-ravaging Titan, the absolute threat to humanity. And it's waking up. And it knows we're here. It's smiling Altera. She has to know I'm an intruder, but her words are calm and articulate.
早くレガリアを。セファールはまだ目覚めきっていない。今ならまだ間に合う。早く、一刻も早くこの怪物の息の根を止めるのです。
Shush, you traitor. Soon to be traitor. Archimedes' repeated warnings echo in my head, but... Is she really a monster, though? I can't hurt her. There's no way. I don't feel any hostility from her. No intent to kill. The Titan, Zephyr as Archimedes calls her, doesn't seem to want to hurt us at all. In fact, it's just the opposite. I feel embarrassed that we came to kill her just because of her size. Man, Hakuno. Sizist. She's trying to be considerate towards us. She keeps moving, or keeping her movements as slight as possible, in order to not scare us. And she's wanting to make us move. Or waiting for us to make a move. I can't read. That's what happens when you record at 1 a.m. in the morning. In other words, it's now time to talk with her.
バカな、何を言っているのです。あなたはムーンセルの代理人、レガリアを授かったセラフの開拓者だ。確かに恐れるのも当然でしょう。相手はただ人型をしただけの人間とは異なる異形なのですから。だが倒すしかない。囚われた我々が自由を得るにはそれしかない。あなたがあれを倒すしかない。だってそうでしょう。そのためのレガリア、そのためのムーンセルなのだから。
レガリア、そう、ムーンセルは自閉を選んだのですね。当然の選択とはいえ、
となると、そうか。私と戦うというのか、お前は。
Oh, now she's got her serious
その
face.
ために我が
Unfortunate.
寝台に忍び込んだ。
It's rare to see smiling Altera, but it's nice when you do see it. The Titan's eyes fill with hostility. Her consideration is gone. I can see why she's a true warrior, and I'm not. Now that she's identified a threat, I know she'll show no mercy.
愚かすぎます。アリが人間に挑むどころの話ではありません。アリが巨人に挑むようなものでしょうに。ああ、まったく。相変わらず人間は無駄なことだけが好きなのですね。
She shows no hesitation. She turns half of her body one way, but that's just a misdirection. Then she reaches down with a ridiculously giant hand and grabs me with the force of an avalanche. It's impossible to dodge. Well, I didn't think you really tried, Hakuno, but, you know, it is what it is. This isn't even a battle. She just grabs me and squeezes all the air out of my lungs, clamping me between her fingers. I feel her raising me high off the floor. I try to resist, but I can't move a single muscle. My body creaks and cracks in protest. Am I really going to be squeezed to death?
なんというあっけなさ。素晴らしい、実に素晴らしい。素晴らしいぞセファール。予想通りとはいえ、ここまで簡単に済むとはな。
Do you guys think Archimedes is bad? I feel like he might be bad.
痛快なことこの上ない。万が一のためにと身構えてはいたが、一撃であっさり終わって何よりだ。そしてお疲れ様。ごきげんよう、愚かな神王よ。ムーンセルも判断を誤ったな。
I can hear Archimedes' voice. What is he saying?
まだ分かっていないのか。要はあれですよ。あなたは疑うことなく私に騙され、ここにおびき出されたのです。いやー、レガリア所持者があなたのような善人で本当に運が良かった。私欲にふける人間であれば誰も信用しなかっただろうからね。
Hakuno does trust people too easily.
最後の教訓だ。覚えておくといい。悪人は世界を壊さない。ただ乱すだけだ。では壊すとしたらそれは誰か。無論言うまでもないことさ。いつだってお前のような善人が世界の根底を台無しにしてしまうのだから。さて、状況は把握できているなセファール。レガリアはまさにお前の手の中だ。サーバントでは破壊できないが、アンチセルであるお前なら破壊はたやすかろう。レガリアを破壊せよ。ムーンセルの機能をダウンさせ、ベルバーを呼び寄せる時が来た。
I hope she like punts him. Just flicks him.